There's a common takedown in games that's a spectacular misnomer, the so-called stealth takedown. Because there's nothing quiet or under the radar about the way that some games have you dispatching your foes. Seriously, I don't care how good you are at crouch walking, don't try and tell me that this is a moment of unparalleled silent assassination. Inspired by our sister channel Outside Xbox, who recently took a look at non-lethal takedowns that, despite the name, definitely sent your victim to the morgue, here are the stealth takedowns that were anything but.
Take your squeeze! What the f***, I'm rolling.
When it comes to stealth, the simplest takedowns are the best, reducing the chances of you being seen or heard by anyone, especially your target. However, someone who didn't get the memo is parkour-obsessed Marcus Holloway, who can't help but take down his enemies with a little bit of flair. His main tool of the trade is the Thunderball. No, not the 1965 James Bond film, but a heavy ball on a bungee-like cord, which Marcus uses to batter and garrote his foes to the ground, using moves so elaborate he must have watched at least 12 hours of YouTube tutorials to get them down.
Wait.
All of this for the hipster cred of taking down the man, with what is essentially a glorified version of popular 90s kids' toy, the yo-yo. What are your other moves? Throwing pogs down people's windpipes or incapacitating them with a snap band? Actually, there was a girl in my year who she did it and then like really pinched. That's quite painful. Might be onto something there. Still, no stealth takedown is quite so loud or ridiculous as Marcus's ability to remote control cars into people via one of his many gadgets. We're honestly surprised he manages to get away with it so often, as there must be some programming genius who could trace it back to him. And whilst everyone else is screaming and calling the police, someone must notice the one calm-looking guy putting his phone away and sauntering off. I mean, you'd think they'd see it on the CCTV or something.
Someone get this drone off me! Drones! Who's doing this? When you hear the word stealth, nobody thinks of hatchets, as this word association test will prove. Stealth.
Turtlenecks?
Stealth.
Silenced pistols.
Stealth.
Hatchets!
No, Mike.
Crouch walking.
That's better. Mike's preferences aside, nobody could argue that the hatchet, a single-handed, bladed tool for smashing up wood, is the perfect tool for quietly disposing of an enemy in a way that doesn't attract attention.
A lot of things you can do with a hatchet. And a Nazi.
And yet, at the very start of Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, that's exactly what fighter of fascism Billy Blazkowicz chooses to quietly dispatch his foes. To be fair to Billy, while the hatchet isn't terribly discreet, that's not really this guy's whole deal. Bear in mind the hatchet is part of an arsenal that also includes the Lasergewehr, which does, this sort of thing. So this is why they tell you not to point them at people's eyes. Makes sense. On the other hand though, Billy does, incredibly, get away with stealth kills using the hatchet that totally defy sense. Consider moves like this one, which once again, the game literally describes as a quote, silent takedown. Now, I don't know how much noise it should make when you slice someone's knees off with a single swing, and I hope to never learn. But come on, surely this kind of racket would alert the people lying in wait just next door. Seriously, whatever these Nazis are wearing, it obviously provides extremely good ear insulation to not alert all of them immediately to this, the noisiest silent takedown in history. Still, I suppose Billy should be proud of having invented the most disgusting hatchet job ever. I mean, apart from my profile in Time magazine.
He doesn't stand a chance. Oh, you guys are the best. Well, best I can find on short notice.
What are you doing?
Anyone who knows Batman will know that his greatest weapon against criminals is fear, and a cave full of military hardware. One way to strike fear into the hearts of your enemies is to take them out one by one without being seen, being but a shadow in their darkest nightmares. Which is a pretty big ask from someone who punches them so hard that it makes a boom louder than DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Andy, can you do that again but with a more up-to-date reference?
Fine. Which is a pretty big ask from someone who punches them so hard that it makes a boom louder than the song Boom Clap by English singer-songwriter Charlie XCX, released in 2014 from her second studio album. That better?
A bit.
Good. The Arkham series gave players a wide range of stealthy takedowns that we're surprised everyone didn't hear from miles away. In Asylum, it introduced the much-loved inverted takedown, which let Batman loom above his victims on gargoyles before doing this.
Hey, get off me! Ah!
You okay there, Batman? Want to talk about anything? In Arkham City, we were offered another from above, apparently silent takedown, the reverse ledge takedown, where Batman would hang down before doing this.
Not on that one. Where is he?
Sure you don't want to talk? Parents? No? However, not one to be beaten by its predecessors when it comes to ridiculously unstealthy stealth moves, Arkham Knight brought a whole host of ways to stealthily deal with the bad guys of Gotham. The corner takedown had Bats grab an enemy with his grapple and drag them loudly across the room. Then, of course, there are the environmental takedowns, with Bats using windows and walls to eliminate his foes with the dual elements of surprise and smashed up construction materials. I'm just saying I'm here if you need me. Or we could go on pretending this is a healthy outlet for your childhood trauma.
In Hitman, as implied by the title, you play a hitman, whose job it is to discreetly dispose of his targets, leaving little to no sign that he was ever there. Mike.
Oi!
Playing as the highly trained Agent 47, you're awarded points based on your stealth, and you lose points should any bodies you leave behind be found. Mike. To avoid this, you can stealthily take out your targets before stuffing them inconspicuously into one of the many containers to be found around the levels. However, there is a more conspicuous way for you to deal with them, and that's by knocking them out before feeding them alive into a wood chipper that's noisier than a space shuttle launch. Not a move recommended in the ICA handbook, but it's nice to see Agent 47 branching out.
Boo! Even for you, boo!
But this is nothing compared to one way you can take out Reza Zaydan in Marrakesh. Clear the room of potential witnesses and you can stealthily take out Zaydan with propaganda, or more accurately, the large printing press making all the propaganda posters.
Very good.
Not only do you get away with what is actually an extremely noisy assassination, but if no one is in the room when you push him, it amazingly counts as an accident. Stop the presses! We got a scoop! The remains of the general out of the printing apparatus. What?
Deus Ex protagonist Adam Jensen may not look like the most inconspicuous killer around. I mean, unless he's taking down a target at a Neo from the Matrix cosplay convention. But in fact, this mechanically augmented cyber warrior knows all about being sneaky, and is more than capable of taking down members of the shadowy organization that left him nearly dead at the start of the game. For instance, he uses his high-tech X-ray augmentations to keep track of enemies, or deploys the glass shield cloaking system to sneak up on them. Which is impressive, because if I had a robot body, literally all I would do all day is punch through walls. Not like that crafty Adam Jensen. What? Why is everybody looking at me? It's probably because, alongside all these sneaky powers, Adam has an altogether louder technique for creeping through the game undetected. Namely, the one where he smashes down a wall to get at the person on the other side and callously snaps their neck. What's more outrageous is that Jensen gets away with it, despite the fact that this cacophonous takedown would surely have everyone in the place running in his direction. If not, bring the whole building down around his 5-foot wide shoulders. Ever hear of a load-bearing wall, Jensen? I know you can access the Buildings Regulation Act from those augmented eyes.
I thought I saw moon. Suffer me now!
You'd think you could count on a ghost to be sneaky. I mean, it's kind of their whole deal. But not Celebrimbor. This long-haired elf is as proud and arrogant as he is long dead, having, in the canon of the games, forged the One Ring for Sauron, dooming Middle-earth to many centuries of bitter magical war. A gigantic error that you'd think would make him a bit humble. But not old Brimblepants.
Fools. No one can tame a Balrog.
Celebrimbor's haughty attitude carries through to stealth in Shadow of War. For instance, note the careful attention Talion, your human protagonist whose body Celebrimbor has merged with, gives to creeping quietly across Mordor, skulking up on his targets, making less noise than a hobbit wrapped in cotton wool, with a plan to interrogate his orcish enemies to learn the whereabouts of their bosses. But having snuck silently up to an orc, it's time for that interrogation to happen, at which point Celebrimbor springs out of your body and starts screaming at them in his elvish tongue. A peace-disturbing occurrence that would definitely give the game away, you'd think.
Who leads the search for the Palantir?
And if nearby orcs didn't notice that, they'd certainly notice the next bit. Yep. Amazingly, nearby orcs don't tend to mind, but if you are concerned, why not unlock the Stealth Dominate move?
These archers will be more than just our weapons. They will be our eyes.
Which has stealth in the name, but sees you walking up to packs of orcs bold as brass and shining a glowing beam of light in one of their faces. But again, none of the nearby orcs express even the faintest interest in this extremely cheeky stealth move, which of course Celebrimbor is only too pleased with.
Already our army consumes that of the Dark Lord.
Ugh, I take it back, I prefer the screaming elvish.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
I said screaming elvish! Elvish!
Lara Croft hasn't always been a fan of the quiet approach. Yeah, Lara, could you just, be careful of all the priceless historical architecture around you? Yeah? However, in the recent reboot, especially in Rise of the Tomb Raider, we were encouraged to take Lara the stealthy route, being offered more XP for stealth kills such as bow and arrow headshots, and to deploy stealth takedowns at the drop of a hat. Well, a drop of the hat into some freezing cold ice water as the light fades from the wearer's eyes. Most of these are fairly stealthy and offer Lara a nice quiet route around or through her enemies, but there's one that in no way qualifies as a discreet manoeuvre. If you should find a guard foolish enough to be guarding near a gas canister and you shoot an arrow at it, you'll find it to be a slightly louder kill. Whoa! Blimey, Lara! However, if no one sees you shoot the arrow, the game considers it a stealth takedown, as if everyone in the level assumes that giant fireballs are one of those freaky things that just happen. Like spontaneous human combustion, or when the family car drove itself into a ditch that one time when I was 14. So weird. Crazy.
Incoming!
So those are some of the stealth takedowns in games that were not so quiet. I mean, some of them were so loud. How did nobody hear? I, for one, would never be fooled by that kind of clumsy, so-called silent stealth takedown. I am much keener senses, like a cat almost. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, then there's... Oh, Ellen, hi. Hey, it's Ellen. What a surprise. I was just about to show the guys these videos. She's gone. Busy. What's she like? And if you enjoyed this, then why not subscribe? And hey, ring that bell so you can get loads more videos from us whenever we upload a new one in the future. You will be told. Thanks for watching, guys. Goodbye.